Hi, I'm Ryan from Yellowcard, and you're watching Pavlina's Kidz Place.
I tell him you'll get everything you ever wanted, but you will still want more. Someone's gonna tell you who you should want to be.
Pavlina from Pavlina's Kidz Place. I'm on location at the House of Blues with Ryan Key of Yellowcard. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome, thank you.
Okay. So you've been traveling around the world, like Brazil, Sydney, Australia recently. Have you picked up any like new travel customs or new phrases?
I don't know if I've got anything specific. We've had a really great opportunity these last 2 years to go to a lot of countries we've never been to before, which is amazing since we've been touring for like 10 plus years that we're still going to places we've never been before. So I think I'd say that's the coolest thing that we've gotten to do. We're still, next year we're going to some Eastern European countries we've never been to before. We're going to Turkey for the first time. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so it's been awesome.
Yes, definitely. That's great then. Okay. So I read in your bio that you started playing piano and then guitar as a kid. So what got you like into a band, like playing?
I guess like any other kid who was my age in 1991, Nirvana, Nevermind got me into being in a band.
Yeah.
That record was, you know, changed rock and roll in so many ways, and it was such a huge record for kids like me who weren't really exposed to like underground punk rock music, or you know, but it was a band that made it into sort of in the mainstream and was a completely different new kind of music that you know, we hadn't heard before. I was kind of an MTV generation kid. I watched, you know, that's where I got my music from, was the radio and MTV. So yeah, I got my first guitar kind of when those records started coming out, Green Day, Dookie, and I was into Pearl Jam a lot, and Soundgarden, and Smashing Pumpkins, and all those bands in the early 90s really are what got me super into music. I wish I hadn't quit piano lessons. That would, my biggest advice to young people is it sucks at first, but don't quit. You'll regret it later.
Definitely. That's great then. Okay. So kids have all kinds of obstacles growing up. What obstacle did you have, and how did you overcome or deal with it?
I had I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had an amazing, you know, charmed life, really. My parents are incredible people, and my family is really big and strong and together. And so I'm very fortunate to have, those were obstacles I didn't have to overcome, and I'm so lucky for that. But, you know, I think wanting to be an artist is just a challenge. It's not the normal thing to want to do as a kid. And you know, I mean, every other kid is most kids play baseball and soccer and football, and I did a lot of that too. I was pretty well rounded. I'd like to think that I was. You know, I did a little bit of everything, but my passion was certainly in theater and music, and I even took ballet for 10 years. That was tough as a young dude, you know, to do. But I just sort of fell into it at a young age. It wasn't something I said, "Mom, I want to go take ballet lessons." It was just kind of accidental almost that I was in theater and doing all this other stuff, and I must have liked it. I started really young. So I think just the idea of wanting to be creative, wanting to be an artist, that probably would have been the biggest obstacle for me growing up.
Definitely. That's really cool, though. I think you did ballet, because I do ballet a lot, and I have a lot of either guy friends or just friends in general that do ballet. So that's
right,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was just always kind of dancing around the living room, you know, and my mom didn't know what to do with it, I think, and so she was like, well, fine, let's go take a dance class, you know, and that ended up getting me into kind of more of a specific path as far as doing that. And I mean, I tell people that, and they're just like, what? You did what? You know, but I mean, it was a big part of my life for a long time, because I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and there wasn't a whole lot of live theater to do, which is really what I wanted to do growing up. So it was just, I think for me, it was more of like an addiction to being on stage.
Yes.
And so I just stuck with it, you know, and kind of, and overcoming the obstacle was just, you know, I never really let anybody get to me. You know, I took a lot of crap for doing it, and I just stuck with it, and I had made some of the best friends, you know, growing up as a kid, through that and in the theater. So
that's awesome. That's great. Okay, so fans can be inspiring, crazy, and are the reason for what you do. How would you describe your fans?
Inspiring is probably the best word that I could find, and you just used it. I mean, we've had a crazy ride as a band. And we've stayed pretty connected to our fans throughout it, or more importantly, they've stayed connected to us. You know, even when we've sort of unplugged and maybe been more disconnected from them at times, they've always stuck with us, and that's extremely inspiring. And these last couple years have been a really positive experience for all of us, and we couldn't have done it without all the fans' support from these last 2 newer records that we've put out. So.
Awesome. Okay. So, what's your favorite quote and like that you would want to make into a song?
On the spot. Oh man. I don't know. I don't know what my favorite quote would be. My father has always had this thing telling us growing up. I think a quote that stuck with me my whole life is, and I think I do kind of translate this into songs sometimes, but he's just always said, you get what you think about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you put positive energy to something, you'll get something positive out, and if you put negative energy in, you'll get negative out, you know.
I like that.
So, well, you know, I've tried to, as a songwriter, I think I often try to take a situation in my life or someone close to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll write about other people, you know, too, but something that they're going through that's a challenge or a heartbreak or something like that, but find the positive in it, you know. So I think that's sort of where I get that from.
Awesome. That's great then. What are your upcoming plans and events?
After this tour, we're going to be off for about a month through the holidays and stuff to be with our families, and then we pick back up in the middle of January for a few U.S. shows and a run across Canada with All Time Low.
Oh yeah.
We're really excited about that. We love those guys. Love touring with them. And then we're going to be in Europe, Russia, and Europe, and Scandinavia in February and March. And after that, we're not sure, but through the end of March, we're pretty booked up. So it's good. Yeah, it's good to be busy.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Someone's gonna tell you who you should wanna be, so you'll forget the vision that they didn't wanna see. And when they give up because they